This is a rapper, and this is the hype man. Now you might be thinking, what exactly is he doing here? But what if I told you he might be one of the most important people in the room? Because culturally, we've always treated the hype man like a human exclamation mark bouncing around the stage. But underneath all of this is a surprisingly interesting bit of human psychology. When an artist steps up to a microphone or releases a piece of art, they're providing the performance, but the hype man tells the room exactly how they're supposed to receive it. Humans are surprisingly hesitant when we're not sure what everybody else thinks. You don't want to be the only person laughing in a silent cinema, and that's where this guy comes in. Art may speak for itself, but the hype man tells the room that it's safe to listen, and once you notice that, you start to see it everywhere. Imagine standing on a stage completely exposed. Not like that. Whether you're a comedian or pitching a startup, you're terrified of one thing: dead silence. If you go back to the early days of hip-hop, this role seems to have developed for almost exactly that reason. In the 1970s, Grandmaster Flash had been experimenting with this new way of DJing. Instead of just letting a record play normally, he'd get 2 copies of the same record and keep switching between them so he could repeat the best bit, the break, over and over again. Which today may sound completely normal, but he had a problem. At the time, people had no idea what he was doing. When he first demonstrated what he called the quick mix theory in front of a large crowd, he expected everyone to lose their minds, and they did not. He later remembered hundreds of people basically just standing there staring at him. Flash knew what he was doing was exciting, but there was just no hype. And that's where Keith Wiggins, also known as Keith Cowboy, comes in. Cowboy became one of Flash's early MCs, and while Flash was busy doing all of this, Cowboy could actually deal with the humans. He'd talk to the crowd, start chants, get people responding, and turn this strange new thing happening behind the decks into something everyone in the room could actually participate in. He was basically the bridge between the exciting new thing and the audience engaging with it. But that raises a slightly bigger question. Why does seeing one other person being excited make such a difference? In a well-known TED Talk, Derek Sivers used this clip to explain the importance of the first follower. When one person does something entirely new, weird, or unproven, they just look like a lone nut. The crowd ignores them. But then this guy appears, the first follower. Now he's no longer a lone nut, just a regular nut. And then someone else looked at whatever this is, and the next thing you know, it's a trend. The creator is heavily burdened by their own vulnerability, but the hype man jumps in to absorb that awkwardness. And we are still desperately reliant on this bridge today, like reaction videos. Why do we watch them? Think about how objectively absurd that sounds. You watch the thing, then you find another human being, ask them to watch the thing, and watch them watching the thing. And somehow we enjoy that. We want to see the exact moment the thing lands on somebody else. In a way, we're chasing the experience of sharing an interest. But we have to make an important distinction here. A hype man is not a yes man who says everything is brilliant. He's someone who's willing to make belief visible. For decades, the hype man was a loud, messy human catalyst. But as we move deeper into the digital age, something shifted. We didn't eliminate the hype man. We did something much worse. To be a hype man, you have to do something dangerous. You have to actually like something, and often loudly, which on the internet is apparently a high-risk activity. Because if you openly like something that everybody already agrees is brilliant, there's basically no risk. It's like saying Breaking Bad is good. Congratulations, you have a brave opinion. The worst thing you could possibly be on the internet today is cringe. But what is it really? A lot of what we call cringe is simply a sincere effort without the protection of success. If you sit back, cross your arms and say everything is rubbish, you never really have to reveal what you like. You can't have bad taste if you're not willing to have any taste of your own. So when we're unsure about something, we look around. The socially expensive moment is before everyone knows it's good. And this is where the creative ecosystem changed. Researchers have even tested this. In a famous study known as the Music Lab experiment, researchers took over 14,000 participants and asked them to listen to previously unknown songs. Some participants had to choose what to listen to blindly without seeing anyone else's behavior, but others could see exactly how many times each song had already been downloaded. And suddenly, the results became much more unequal. Popular songs became even more popular. Quality still mattered. The worst songs didn't magically become masterpieces, but what other people had already chosen had a significant effect on what people chose next. Which means the song hasn't changed, the taste of the person listening hasn't changed. What changed was the social proof. And that brings us back to our guy shouting behind the rapper. Because that is exactly what the hype man has been doing this entire time. He is social proof with lungs. And the rest of the room suddenly has one less reason to hesitate. Except today, we don't really need a person standing behind the artist to do that anymore. We have trending pages, views and likes. The internet didn't eliminate the hype man. It outsourced him to the numbers at the bottom of the screen. We usually tell the history of creativity through the person holding the microphone, the artist brave enough to stand alone. But while art can be made alone, culture cannot. At some point, somebody else has to recognize a moment and make it visible. He doesn't create the talent, he changes what everybody else thinks they're looking at. And today we have algorithms, view counts and trending pages doing that job at a massive scale. But before all of that, there was just some guy standing behind the artist yelling,
let it sink in. Talk to him. You see, huh? Hey, yo.
Turns out, he had a point.